Well now, it's been a long time. Well, I say a long time, but yes, I suppose it has. Just give a quick overview, and you can see I've been doing things. Now, it may not look like a lot, but I have to tell you that some of these little buildings can take me around about 3 days to do. This little fella here, which overhangs, there will be doors underneath and a swinging sign, and also I think over the porch a a light. And here, see this. Now, just in case anybody thinks, oh, one silly moment, that I cut that with a knife, absolutely no way. It's all done with a laser, only a fairly cheap one. And the program that runs it, which is, I'll come to it in a minute, it's got a dragon on it, and it is called, I don't know, I've forgotten. Anyway, here on the line which goes to Lancre, which is about 2.5 weeks away by this thing, is one of Alistair McHenry's engines that you may have seen it before, because George Stephenson, who was somewhat more, somewhat better, I suppose, at marketing, really, of course, copied it, and there will be coaches to go behind it. Over here, we have an unfinished carriage, whatever, and this is actually, well, I suppose it's what in railway terms you might call a gas electric or a petrol electric, but of course on this railway it's got lots of imps inside who do all the work and wind it up. Problem with that is that people keep feeding them and then they don't want to work. But there we are, that's life, isn't it? So I don't know how much of this has been done since we last looked, but here we have what will be a waterfall, which is why there's some green there, and into a little watercourse which comes into the, can we see this? Yeah, it comes into the stream. River, yes. There I haven't put anything into the river as yet in the way of water, because we're still in the workshop and it's getting a bit chilly in the workshop. I mean, it's not particularly cold today, but it will be getting worse, and so I want to do it once the thing's down in the house. Lots of errors made, of course, but hey, this was one of them. You may have noticed, if you looked or remember the other videos, that this bridge was originally grey, and the problem was that in order to get the track to sort of sit down in there, I actually put some of those spring clips on and just put a blob of super glue, and the track took charge and just pulled the bridge down slightly, which made the sides wrinkle. So I've cut it out of a heavier card and painted it what basically I suppose is sort of like red oxide, which I preferred because well, you can it relieves all the grey. There's an awful lot of grey. We will be getting quite a lot of green as we go along, and of course the buildings will be quite colourful, and we're also going to get another locomotive shortly. I have got a piece of track in there which I think I've got to replace, which is going to be a little bit of a bugger to do, but there we are. And I've got most of the basic landscaping done now. This is the continuation of the track. I might even put a handrail up here, but of course the dwarves had to blast out all the stone in behind to get the sidings in there. Well, railway station, heavens. And we might, if I can summon up the fiddly energy, have a set of steps going up the cliff. I haven't quite decided. I mean, I could do a sort of a caged job, a sort of freestanding steel, as it were, or even iron. Could have sort of cast iron columns. That'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Or it might be cut into the cliff, but we'll see. Anyway, over on this side, I haven't done any. This has got to be done because well, I want to get all the work done with this foam before it goes into the house. So that's got to be built up. And there's got to be a little bit of work done here. Now, that is a Chinese tree, which, I mean, it's not that bad. When I've received it, I thought, hell's teeth, that's a tree, isn't it? But getting it out again, I think, well, it is a tree. And the alternative is I'm going to have to make them, which may well do. But as you can see, my first efforts, we've seen them before, and they don't even look a bit like trees. So there we are. So we've got some, well, what I've got is casting resin actually, which is left over, which will make the stream. I shall put one application and then add some vegetation and then another, and do a bit of ripply stuff on it. How will I do the waterfall? Well, I got an idea, and I certainly have had a bit of a fiddle with the idea, and that is using glazing silicone. So we'll see how that works. It may not work, and if it doesn't work, well, we'll do something else. So, ooh, dropping the camera. So what we will have along here is the hotel, and I want to do a market here, which I was actually looking, I don't know why, but there was a video anyway on YouTube, and it was of Dorchester on Thames. I think that's what it's called. It's not Dorchester and Dorset anyway. And it had a covered market, which was all half timbered, and I thought, gosh, that was quite nice. There is also one in Llanidloes, but I really don't think I've got room for that. The hotel itself will be a sort of half timbered and brick structure. That, of course, is, I was quite pleased with this. Let's get a close-up of it, shall we? I don't know whether that will focus that close in, but that stonework there is actually done with a sort of acrylic medium, which you can get in the shops, but there are other ways of doing it which are cheaper. And then, whilst it was wet, I just crisscrossed it slightly, and once it was dry, gave it a coat of paint. One of the reasons why these take so long to do is that that is sort of like timber siding, which is made up and stuck on, and those are supposed to be shingles. Now, they're grey at the moment, but they will get a wash of I don't know, yellow ochre sort of to give the look of timber. And again, with this one here, I can't move it too far because it's got wires going down, and you can possibly see that these are actually cut by machine and folded. Right, anything else I can say? Good. So you appreciate that basically it's doing all that kind of thing. That's quite quick. Really doesn't take very long to do that. I mean, like a couple of hours, and then you find that some of the things you've used, this is actually construction adhesive, and it's cracked as it's dried out, which doesn't matter. But then again, some of the fillers that they make are, and I'm just looking for it. There is a tube of filler here somewhere. That's grip fill, that's the adhesive. And there's another one here. Oh yes, here it is. Just keep watching this for the moment. This is contract cork. Oops, it came from Jewson's anyway. Everflex 125, 1 hour cork. It really is quite seriously much like the acrylic medium that you get in an art shop at a fraction of the price. So I think really that about covers it. I bought a cheap air gun which will have it. Well, I've got an expensive airbrush, not air gun. That's the squirrels again, bloody things. Yes, which has a tiny little compressor, which is really why I bought it, because I've got a fairly expensive one and a rather unwieldy elderly compressor. So we shall be wafting something over that white at the background there. Looking at it, we'll be wafting a piece of sandpaper before we do very much. And there'll be some mountains in the background and clouds and whatever. Okay, right. I think everybody must have had their fill by now. This black stuff is pretty good because this has not been, the ballast has not been glued down yet. It will be. Oops, there we are, pointing at my finger. And it has moved around a little bit, but you need very little of it on this black or dark grey, as you will, because the colour comes through. So that's pretty good, actually. Good. Okay then, people. Gosh, there's so much to do. I mean, that's a whole town up there. There's a fair bit to do. I mean, the station platform I have cut, although it's not sort of a platform like you would find on a normal railway. It's somewhat shallower, but it will have the station building on it as well. So you see, there are quite a lot of things to do. But then, I suppose actually this little town here could really be called Rome, because wait for it, Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay then, and with that little thing I shall leave everyone to it. Thank you and goodbye.